Hello and welcome to Eat Sleep Code, the official Telerik podcast. I'm your host, Ed Charbeneau, and with me is my co-host, John Bristowe. So this is Man Connects to North Korea's internet to see what you can really access. This was an interesting look at the Red Star operating system. Is that what it's called? Yeah. um, where he booted up this fork of Linux apparently, and they tried to keep it skinned as close to like a Mac OS as they could.
Oh, geez. Okay.
So you got the beach ball
Yeah, yeah.
like loader icon, and that kind of glass. It's kind of a dated uh,
Yeah, it was
Mac
called
OS, but
Aqua back in the day, if I remember correctly.
okay, yeah, I think so. It's got um that clear glass
Beautiful.
looking UI
Beautiful.
to it. But
Nice.
I just thought this was very interesting. He goes through like all the details on kind of like what parts of the OS work, what's blocked, what happens when you go to the internet and try to browse things.
But
It
Ed, we're
was
not asking the most important question of all. Can
yeah.
it
What's
play
that?
Doom?
What was that?
Can it play Doom?
Can it play Doom? Probably not. It's probably blocked. Everything's probably locked down on this thing. Um, I thought it was really cool though, like just to see the other side of things. um, was kind of interesting. And the choice of like available time zones that you can choose
Right.
when you install the operating system was kind of interesting as well. It had
There's only one time zone.
yeah, it had the Korean time zone, Japanese time zone. Here it is right here on the screen.
Yeah, yeah.
So there was like four choices:
Oh, wow. Okay.
Tokyo and Russia.
Nice.
That was it.
Perfect.
Japan to
Yeah, of
and
course.
Russia.
That's all you need. Ed, why would you need more than four?
That's as big as the whole world is anyway,
Yeah,
right?
dude, that's all you need.
It's all the important things right there.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? As they say.
And that somewhere is Korea all the
I'm
time,
wondering
as
if
long
they
as
they took a stab at like I'm sure all the Arch Linux folks are just like missed opportunity, sort of thing.
yeah. So if you'd like to quote connect to the North Korea OS, uh, add Red Star to the internet and surf like Kim Jong Un style,
Perfect.
then check out the Onloyd Tech article on that. It's just really interesting stuff. It just fascinates me that there is a whole country that exists like this in this day and age. So pretty cool stuff there. Just moving on to another YouTube video here. This one was about .NET. I don't know if you've ever seen the content creator here, Zoran. He's got like a Patreon channel, but he puts stuff on YouTube all the time. Just killing
I'm
it
not
with
sure if
like
you're
the
showing the video right
deadpan
now.
humor. Oh, is it not?
Sorry.
Oh, there we go. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
So
yeah.
this YouTuber, he just kills it with like the deadpan delivery and kind of keeps you engaged the entire time while it teaches you something about usually .NET. So this one is talking about signaled async and await progress. So this is basically building a progress visualization that signals when a process is happening, a long running process is happening, using async and await.
Okay.
And he does this to show how you correctly implement a progress bar that's not going to eat up all of your threads and bog your system down. Allow cancellation tokens to properly cancel out longer running processes and all of that stuff.
Burn the
So
CPU.
yeah. So he shows an example in here where I guess the async process will report back very frequently the
Okay.
status of the thread. And it does it so often that if you're constantly updating the visualization, that you can actually bog down the CPU.
Yeah, of
So,
course.
in his example, he does like a 0 to 100%. And he's like, hey, there's only really 101 states here, 0
Sure.
through 100. You don't really need to update this every time that the process sends an update. if the percentage hasn't changed. So, he puts a little piece of code in there to just double check and make sure, like, if it's the same as the last state, then we don't really need to report it. It like totally bogs down the CPU if you don't do that. So it's a great video. He has some really good content too, by the way. So we'll share that in our links this week. I'll pop these into chat too while we're at it. But I thought this was super useful. Async and await something that we use all the time, and a lot of times
Sure.
we don't get a chance to take advantage of cancellation tokens or progress bars. And it's really nice to see like actual best practices on how to do this stuff the right way and not just kind of like winging it,
Nice.
implementing it on your own. So I thought I would share that one. This one, I'll see if I get some audio in
Hey,
here.
Brian.
Yeah, it's a good friend. So this is a interview with Brian Rinaldi. I think it was at a conference, and they asked the question from the perspective of a junior developer, senior developer, and CTO. Why is X, Y, or Z important, right? And the person gives these three perspectives. And for Brian Rinaldi, the question was, why should developers use feature flags?
Okay.
And he goes through the different perspectives of, if you're a junior developer, this is why it's important to you. If you're a senior level developer, this is why it's important to you. And if you're a CTO, then it matters to you because he does an excellent job of explaining this. Any takes on feature flags, John?
Yeah, they're great. So for those who don't know, feature flags, it's kind of like having a Boolean value or flag. That's why they're called feature flags. Basically, they're turned on or off. So the idea is that, let's say I want to, I'm working on a feature. Let's say I'm creating the next Twitch or something like that. And there's a feature I want to add where I show comments in line with the video. But I'm kind of like not sure how well it will work in production. I can use a feature flag which will enable it for either all my users or a subset of users that you can designate. And the feature flag itself is there so that you can turn it on and off. So the idea is that feature flags are really useful for those scenarios where you're wanting to test stuff in production, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure you have a plan. And the nice thing about testing in production is you get really valuable telemetry back. So I would surmise Brian's answer as a junior developer will want them because they can safely turn things off if they get things wrong in production, more often than not. Depends on the implementation. A mid developer or senior developer may like them to try and get a sense of telemetry of what's happening in the field. And then a CTO or CXO may like it because it allows you to iterate quickly, which will obviously time to market is much shorter, so that will help you get an edge on your competition.
Yeah, that was the gist of it. And I think it was really well explained. I like your example as well,
Yeah,
where you might have something that you're trying to roll out, a feature that you want to roll out. Maybe you don't want to
yeah,
give it to everybody at once. Um, and it's kind of summarized in some of these too. It's like
yeah.
you're taking some other risk out of the equation. We'll go back to CrowdStrike. You're avoiding the crashing the whole entire system
Well,
rather than
one could argue there was no feature flag; it was all or nothing, basically.
exactly.
But if you're looking for a solution, Launch Darkly is a very good solution for this. There are others as well. I believe the CNCF there's an open source project working on this as well. So
Mhm. Next up, we had the AI Community Standup,
yes,
or sorry, the AI dotnet Conf
yes,
a
I know
couple
what you
weeks
meant.
ago.
Yeah,
So the Community Standup this week was a recap of that Focus on AI event. So this was for folks that got together to kind of recap all of the content because there's just so much of it, so they could
yes.
highlight all the important bits and kind of point you in the right direction if you want to go watch through some of those things. So if you want a high level overview
The
of
Cliff Notes.
the focus on AI, this is the high level overview you're looking for, and then you can dig deeper into each of the subjects. For me, I think one of the things I need to go back and revisit is semantic kernel. I think that's what I got out of this. is I really want to go check out Semantic Kernel and learn a bit more about it, because it seems like that is a little bit more practical um, than just an AI chat prompt
Right.
that's wildly unfocused. So Semantic Kernel allows you to do the natural language processing. So you can ask, a system a question using human language, and then the semantic kernel allows you to kind of pick out things from the answer and put those into return values that you can use in like a function, let's say. So it kind of crosses that barrier of um, the open language feedback that you would get from like a chatbot, and puts it into more of a functional approach.
Yeah,
So
like if
something
you're
I
looking
need
to
to learn
build an
more.
if you're looking to build an AI agent,
Mhm.
and you want to do so in like C# or Python, for example, you can use this semantic kernel, which is uh, a development kit for doing that. So
Yeah.
it's been, I think it was published like back in June or July, and allows you to basically target a variety of actions. So these are based on either your existing code or AI models that you have, and allow to respond to requests.
Yeah. And I like the aspect of it that you can kind of fine tune it to get, you know, either an action back from that request.
Yeah.
There's some really nice tutorials up on the official Microsoft
Yes.
documentation for it, where you can basically simulate an array of light bulbs and then turn them on and
Okay.
off by asking the assistant to turn them on and off. And then you can provide back to the assistant like the state of all the light bulbs and things like that, so it doesn't like toggle ones that are already off back off and things that don't make sense.
It's the open the pod bay doors HAL demo. I like it.
Yeah, so that you've got that in there, and it kind of shows off some of the capabilities of sending metadata back to the AI so it understands the given scenario,
State.
yeah, the state
Yeah.
of the machine that you're working with, as well as having it run functions based on that state. So I think it's a pretty cool demo. I'm gonna have to go back and actually walk through it step by step and
I was thinking
learn
about
from
this.
it.
The new it's just turtles all the way down is it's just vertices all the way down. That's all we're dealing with is vertice traversal now. So
And I got to throw a little bit of water on that whole AI situation. I picked up this article as well this week. The thrill of AI is fading, and Wall Street is getting a little more clear eyed about what the actual value is. Um, This is talking about the kind of overnight sensation that AI has been over the last,
uh-huh.
6 months or so. And we've seen ridiculous upticks in stocks. So, you've got some that rose
Nvidia.
120%, Nvidia's up 150%. Let's see, over the past 5 years, it's up 3,000%. Wish I would have bet on that horse. Um, so, the synopsis here is like, what's the return on investment? What are we getting out of all of this money that's going into these
Yeah.
companies and
Every
stock and research?
everyone is at the track. I think your analogy is apt. Everyone is at the track, and everyone is throwing wild amounts of money on horses. The
Hmm.
capex spending that is going down by Meta, by Google, but especially Microsoft.
Yeah.
Microsoft is spending. You can just look at their financials. The capex spend for AI is insane.
Yep. Yeah. And I think we've seen a lot of really like wow factor. This is cool, like groundbreaking technology. And yet we don't really know what we're going to use it for. Is that kind of jive with what you're
Yeah, I mean,
feeling?
there are some interesting scenarios. The latest one I've heard of is trying to simulate human interaction. So this is being driven via Grok, which is X's AI platform. They're looking to use a robotic component to this to try and interact and self-train based on interactions through robots. So that one I heard on a podcast recently, which was kind of cool. I think I think we don't really know where we're at right now. I think there's a lot of refinement that's going on here. So I don't know if this article is. I mean, it's opportunistic because obviously Nvidia's stock recently dropped, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like, we'll see what happens. I think there's definitely the hype cycle is continuing, but yeah, well, I guess we'll see.
I love this though. It slumped 7% after being
Yeah,
up 3,000% over
I
the
know,
last
I know,
5 years.
I know.
I really think they're feeling that 7%. I don't know about you.
Sure. Oh
Being
yeah, yeah,
sarcastic,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like a rounding error at this point. Um, yeah. So I think it's tapering off. We'll have to see what actual meaningful things come out of AI in the next 6 months to a year, and kind
Yeah.
of reevaluate where things are going to be. But maybe the initial like shock and hype and all of that is starting to finally become more realistic. Let's just say.
Well, it's a good thing because we're going to start focusing on good problems now.
Yeah.
The whole this is the what I call the fart app era. There's
Of
always
AI.
that sort of yeah. Well, like we're in the
Uh,
fart. We've just exited the fart app stage of the technology. So the fart app is basically what everyone creates when the new tech comes out, and we then realize, okay, this isn't really doing anything. Let's move on and get something seriously done. So.
This is for lack of fart analogies, the rush to the app store that you would see with
Yes, this is
like
definitely the
Apple.
rush.
Yeah.
Yes.
So on to some design news. I was on a kind of a design kick this week. Yeah, maybe it was because of the holiday week. I kind of picked up a bunch of design stuff and was checking it out. I love admiring good design work. And this is a great article. It's kind of short, sweet, and to the point, um, and very well done. And it talks about dark themes and 5 UI design tips. So if you're looking at adding a dark theme to your app, um, this is a good place to start. And there's a couple rules here that I've used in design like many times, but it's good to be reminded of them. Avoid pure black. Like, don't go straight black. So the reasoning here that they give is it's harsh on the user and it helps reduce eye strain to go for something that is a little bit milder, but is also, it's kind of hard to discern the difference between the two of these at a glance. But the one on the left is straight black, one on the right is just a kind of a dark shade of gray. Another reason that you might want to do this is once you go black, you can't go any darker. So if you need to add some additional contrast to something, you've lost that ability completely.
Right.
And that's something that I learned a long time ago when I was doing um, other types of UI design and game design stuff and art in general. Is like you don't start with black because if you need to add some
Sure.
kind of like say you've got one of those UIs that has shadows and things like that. You've basically cooked any chance at having shadows if you've done this black background because
Yeah,
there's
folks
nothing
folks who
there
don't
anymore.
have HDR monitors will or sorry, folks who have HDR monitors will know. And
Yeah.
the thing I was going to add here is that this is the what I call the JC Penney motif. So browns and beiges and off black. So the 1 2 1 2 1 2 is a very common one that I use. So
Yeah. And this is a good one. Choose legible fonts. Fonts just hit different on a black background.
yep,
When they're really thin, they're hard to read. So this kind of gives you an idea of what two different fonts look like. One that's got a little bit of a more regular, than one's a thin type of a
hmm
typeface. Um,
yep,
adjust shadows and elevation. So this again was kind of pointing to what I was saying. Like if you're dark, like completely dark, you can't even have this type of a thing. But use some lighter shadows and things to avoid really super harsh contrast.
yep,
Avoid using saturated colors. Uh,
yes,
they give two examples here. this one's kind of just to show what they mean by saturated versus muted colors. But this one in practice down here really kind of shows why. If
Hmm.
you go with these really saturated colors, this is actually much harder to see, especially on the sales piece right here. If you look at this
Yep.
345 number in comparison
Yep.
to this side, which one of those is easier to read? So, these muted colors, they essentially just have more white in them,
Hmm.
and white is going to contrast better with dark,
Hmm.
obviously.
Hmm.
And then maintain consistency. So this is showing where they're using the same color scheme, but maybe not the same exact shades, but they're still in the same hue. They're just
Yep.
saturated differently.
Yep.
So
Yep.
when you put them on the darker background, they look almost the same color. They're not exactly the same color, but they're in that same color family. And this is based on the Fluent Microsoft Fluent 2 design system.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
there's a video attached of how to do this in Figma. So
Yes.
great design article there. Big fan of that stuff. So speaking
I was
of,
going to say, Ed,
yeah,
you could also use a UI control framework like Telerik controls, for example.
yeah.
They
So
support both light and dark.
that's a good moment for a shameless plug. Like our theme builder product has a lot of these kind of aspects built in, but we don't really have. I don't think we have like the best practice part of it baked in. You're able to add any colors that you would want. The design system that you would like, so it's completely customizable. But we do offer configuration uh, abilities inside of the theme builders. So this is our theme builder product where you can go in and modify any of the design system aspects of the component libraries that we offer. And inside of that, you can actually put in uh, not only all of your custom color variables in here. Let's see if I can remember where this is. I think it's this one. Yeah, there we go. You can add a dark and a light mode to it. So I just clicked this button here. You could even have a third one. So you could have these are all the colors for my light theme. These are all the colors for my dark theme. And then maybe this third one is like high contrast, right? So you have that ability in Theme Builder to add these different variable constructs. So this is like really, really advanced stuff. But if you're able to go in here and maybe you have a design team that's working with you on this and add all of these things, you can really have a powerful theming capability in your application. You can import these off of Figma as well. So if you're doing Figma, it it pulls all of that data right in here to Theme Builder. So yeah, uh, this light dark theme article does play well with our components in our design system. This one goes off the beaten path a little bit. Uh, this is a really well designed website. I have to give props to the developer on this one.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I love the
I
Sonic the Hedgehog.
the entire site is just something that you could dig through for an hour or two, just looking at all the various samples. It's like a designer's playground portfolio site. And this came across with this 3D in CSS article that this person wrote, and it's like an interactive article. Like you can go through it. Like they've got this cool design that they made here, but then they talk about how to use the perspective CSS value, and you can pull these sliders and see the different kind of animations taking place. And if you look down at this quadrant down here, you can see it on a different axis as well. Like this is so well done and so cool to just tinker with. And then you get, you add origin in it, and you could see the code on the left-hand side here as you drag it, like updating along with the two views. Like this is totally geeky and so much fun. And then you add translate into it and so on and so forth till you get all the way to the bottom. There's a code pen that applies this to like a design surface type of a visualization. This is all just really neat stuff. It shows you how all the bells and whistles work inside of CSS. So I was like, that is really cool. And then I went to the top level here. This is Brad Woods, by the way. And there's just so many cool articles in here that are just pieces of artwork on their own. So if you get a chance, make sure you drop by, check those out if you like really cool design stuff.
Yeah, those
Um,
CSS developer sites are great. I've seen very impressive sites built by folks like this, and they do tutorials and they'll walk you through everything, and it's using animations with SVG, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, in this, Brad Woods must be a gamer like myself. There's a cool article at the top level here about adding quote juice to your website, and he uses a lot of gaming analogies in here. This one is fun. It's a delete button. So it says when clicked, it displays a delete in progress message. Use the input range slider to increase the button's level of juice. So at 0, it's just kind of like the old school deleting message. And then if you up this, like even outputs down here, what it's going to do. So there's like some additional feedback here. Oh, there was a hover state and yeah, hover state and a click. And then if we go up a couple levels, there's a confirm action. I like the heat like uh, progress thing too. You know, you hold it down, deleting, so it gets even cooler when you do that. You go all the way to the top. I don't know if you'll hear this on stream, but you get audio feedback as well. So
It's the circa 1980s self-destruct that you see common on starships in movies, where it's like, the ship will self-destruct in 5 minutes. I'm like, why does
yeah.
it need 5 minutes? Just destroy it.
So yeah, there's a lot of examples in here. That's not the only one. So if you're doing like interaction design stuff, UX, there's some really great
Yep,
examples in
nice.
here of things he found in the real world, things he found in video games, and like how to kind of incorporate those into your web design stuff.
Hey, they got Johnny Cab at the bottom. This guy's really into the references, the old circa
Oh yeah.
1980s. At the very bottom, there's a Johnny Cab figurine, which is awesome. That's a Total Recall motif reference there,
What's
right
that?
at the bottom, very bottom.
Oh
There you go, Johnny Cab.
yeah. Yeah. It's just all around just amazing website and great content. So make sure you check it out.
Awesome.
And then last but not least, I really like visual stuff. This is called Visualgo.net.
Yes, yes,
Um, this one lets you see and learn about algorithms in
yes. Love this. Love
they're
this.
kind of like interactive slide decks.
Yes.
So probably the easiest one to show and kind of understand on stream would be
Sort. Bubble
the
sort.
we could go back to sort. We could do that one. The
Yeah, yeah.
array is pretty easy. We've got sort
Yeah.
here as well, and then it
So
goes
this
through.
actually,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, this is a classic sort of visualization, the sorting visualization, and
Mhm.
I've seen it done many different ways. I've seen it done with audio as well. There's many examples on the online. You can see this. So if you're in a comp sci degree and you want to see how these things work, great site for this.
Yeah, I wish I would have had this when I was learning because I'm a visual learner, and that this would have helped me so much. Like there are slides that go with each one, so you could thumb through
Yep.
them. Accidentally closed it again. You can thumb through them with the little kind of arrows, and it bounces around to where it's kind of showing you different things. Or you can drop this drop down and look through
Mm.
them this way. There's quizzes and everything that you can look at. But there's also these toolbars on the left and right hand sides that you can use to actually invoke behaviors on whatever this is. So in this one, let's see what we can create a sequence of random numbers, hit go. and then we can sort it. And then this is telling you the code line by line, what's happening on the right hand side
Yes.
as it sorts these out. And this is just so cool. Like I really like this. The array one is similar. Like you get a toolkit of, create an array, populate a certain index within the array, delete an item from it, and it's all doing it in real time and showing you what each line of code is doing to a visual
Do
array
they
on screen.
I'd be really interested if they have trash graph traversal via
Yes.
Dijkstra. Ah, nice.
So graph traversal,
Traveling
there's
salesman. I like
traveling
it.
salesman. Uh, there's all sorts of great stuff in here. Recursion.
Red
That's
green trees, binary trees, vertice analysis,
hash table,
sorting. Yeah. Do
binary
they give you
heaps.
the order of operation, like the order and cost for each one of the algorithms? Do they do anything like that,
I
or
believe so. It's in
yeah?
the slide portion of it.
Okay, cool.
So you'll get like the ON
Yep,
notation,
yep.
the O notation stuff in here as well. I know I saw it in here there it is. So it might be a little hard to
Nice.
see on screen, but it says we can use an O of N linear search, yada, yada, yada. And there's a couple
Yep.
other comments in there. And then this was the array I was talking about. You could say, okay, we're going to create an array, some random numbers in it, and then let's go ahead and insert. And you can edit these in real time too. So if I want to insert a 7 on the index of, let's do 6, doesn't have anything in it. Oops, did I do this backwards? There we go. I put a 4
Let's
in the
watch
4
Ed
block.
struggle.
Yeah, these are hard to read on my monitor, by the way. Something with the font on this site. So you can, okay, so there's two functions here, sorry. This is setting a value, appending it, and then there's inserting a value at an index. So I just took and moved a value there. And then it shows you the code part of it. Like what did the code actually run to do that?
Okay.
This is all really neat. I like it.
Yes. Very nice.
Yeah, so that one is visualalgos.net or Algo,
I
no
like it.
S, visualalgo.net. So have fun playing with that one if you're in, looking for visualizations of your favorite
I'm going to show
computing
my
problem.
age here, Ed. Back in my day, we had a big, thick book that you'd buy from the bookstore at university. It was called Algorithms, and it was at least 300 pages. And we didn't have these fancy pants visual algo websites to show us. We had to do it on paper, you know?
Oh, paper. When you said it was thick, I thought it was printed on bedrock.
Yes, that's right. I realize how old and grizzled I sound. So
It was scribed
anyway,
on the cave wall.
yes, exactly.
We would look at our algorithms with collected bone fragments from the
It's like the you
animals
could
we
use the
hunted.
reference of like I put my pants on one leg at a time. It's like I sort my arrays one index at a time, sort of thing. Anyways, sorry. I think we've beaten this analogy to death.
Yeah, it's funny. I have daughters that are all different generations. Like from the youngest one is 14, the oldest one is 26, and like the two ends of that spectrum have seen like pre like maybe flip phone cell phones like and not
Yeah.
internet at the house to like one that just doesn't even like use the TV anymore. She's just like all digital, like you know,
Yep.
TikToks and stuff. So they're always having interesting conversations. Like when I was a kid, we used to do whatever, and my youngest one's like, "And where was your cell phone?" She's like, "We didn't have cell phones yet," and she's like, "What? Like, how old are you?" It really hasn't been that long, but to her, it's like, "Huh?"
I know. That was so last week, Ed.
Yeah.
So last week.
What's really funny is like we have on our streaming TV service, like everybody has their own profile, right? And you go to me and my wife's profile and you can see like what shows we watch. And then you go down the list of kids and you hit our youngest, you turn her profile on, and it's like trapped in like the toddler era. Like it's all little kitty shows because once she grew out of the I don't know what today's equivalent is. Like, what is it, Bluey now? I don't know what hers was. Those type of shows, the little like Sesame Street type programs. Like once she grew out of that phase, like she never watched TV again. Like her profile is stuck at like 6 or 8 years old, and then social media, like streaming stuff, like YouTube and like TikTok videos and stuff are the main outlet for entertainment. It's like she doesn't watch TV. It's very strange, but apparently that's what all kids that age do. They don't watch TV. Like that's they watch YouTube. Fun fact, I guess. All right, folks. That is all we've got for you this week. We are just two old guys ranting about technology, and we'll talk to you again next week.